Yayati.
Hi Khushboo.
It's so nice to be sitting with you today. And we are doing this together because I have done my summer internship in a company that is more structured, and you are coming from a startup now in your summers. So tell me, you have had previous work experience in a company that was more structured, from a Fortune 500 company to now taking summers for 2 months in a startup. Why? Why exactly?
Yeah, nice talking to you, Khushboo, as well. I think the question is really puzzling for me as well, to be very honest with you. Honestly, I think that with age, I have grown more and more grumpy, and more choosy as well. I think I'm more choosy when in terms of which roles I wanted to take.
Yeah.
And I think lithium was one of the roles that I really wanted. It was one of the roles I was looking forward to as well. So the role was basically I would shadow the COO of the company for 3 months. So I was with him day and night. I was traveling with him. I was with him in the board meetings as well. So it was a really eye-opening experience for me.
Yeah.
Never thought of joining a startup when I joined MBA and BITSoM. It was just a happy accident. Because I was always a person who likes structure in his life.
Yeah.
So I thought that throughout the first year I realized that sometimes throwing into yourself into the unknown can make you a better man. So that was the second reason I got into the startup, and I would say what a happy accident it was. I really learned a lot.
Good to know. Good to know.
Thank you. And now coming to you. So you are also a very high achieving woman, executive assistant to the chairperson of Tata Power in Mumbai, a renowned poet as well. So why consulting and why MBA?
So I was working as technical assistant to chief of transmission back in Tata Power. Although I had my hands on all the tasks that were going on, from MIS to operations to finance and everything. But the one thing that was missing was I was looking at the technical aspects of this. So I never learned or got to know, and it took me more time, we would say, to know how the business actually runs. How do we actually make money? And when I found out how we actually make money, it was very much more interesting. So my motivation behind joining MBA was that I want to know how various businesses make money, how they run, and even the technical part of it. So that is my motivation when I came to MBA. So when I learned about consulting, I got to know, oh, there's a field that does that. There's a field that gives me expertise of every industry. And that is why I think I chose consulting as something that I would like to pursue from now on. Yeah.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know.
So you said that you were the shadow to COO of the company. There are many aspects that what we see from outside, what it looks, how a startup works. What do you think is the most challenging and the least demanding part, both, in working in a startup?
Yeah, I won't go into the usual. I'll just tell about my experience and my background, how it happened to me. I would say it really depends on the context. And the most challenging aspect of it was actually the inertia, because there was no inertia, no baggage that lithium had.
Yeah.
And I was a person who was working with processes laid out, SOPs laid out. And I went there and I realized, hey, they just have a scope. They do not have step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to do it?
Yeah.
What are the boundaries that are set?
Right.
And over time I realized that's the fun aspect of it.
Yeah.
So the most demanding aspect of the job became the most interesting aspect of the job, because I was only limited with what I can do, what my creativity had. So there was no other limitation to the jobs. So it was quite amazing. I'll just give you one example. Yeah. So on day 1, I was working on creating a training plan for training 200 something persons in the startup. On day 10, I'm working to revamp the whole MIS system.
Oh.
So you see the pivot from A to B, and that's something that can only happen in the startup. So the learning curve was amazing.
Yeah.
So and I'm really glad that I joined it, and this happy accident made me learn a lot about myself, about the career I want to go into as well.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And talking about learning curves, it would have been a great learning curve for you as well. Talk more about it.
Yeah. So when I got into consulting, because I had no previous background in consulting, so for the first 2 to 3 weeks, as we said, the most difficult thing in consulting is to decide the scope. So the first 2 3 weeks went by me just realizing what the scope is, what the scope for the client is, and I think that is very difficult because in consulting, let it rain, let it shine. You just have to put output. You cannot make excuses when you are asked for output. So I think that made it a faster process because I have worked in a company where the processes are, as you said, inertia. So, but after those 3 weeks, when I got hang of it, when I knew what to do, when I knew how to present the output, when I knew what output to present, what output the client likes, what output I can present in a shorter span of time, what would take me longer span of time, everything, when the nitty-gritties were solved, then it was relatively smooth. But the learning curve, it keeps growing, right? So for one client, you cannot present a result twice. So you have to always come up with something new. So I think that is where the learning curve keeps growing, and I'm happy that I had a great learning curve, and it's like a hockey stick, ever growing. Yeah.
Yeah, really nice to know more about it.
What I wanted to ask you, I read that you have had a previous experience in managing people. You were managing people in your previous role. After doing MBA, how do you think you would have done that differently then versus now?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I have been an engineer. Started as an associate for the company, then got a promotion, then got another promotion, then another promotion, and finally landed myself managing 30-something people across continents. And now I'm a person who has been a pace setter. So the pace setter is basically a person who has been leading from the front. So who is taking up the tasks, who is managing everything on his own, and now I'm responsible for managing 30-something people. So it was quite an experience for me, to be honest. So, so the basic first thing I learned about is you need to change your leadership style, basis the context, and basis the person as well, the personality that they have. Person X may like leadership style A or leadership style B. The same is the case for the various situations as well. So it actually depends on you which you want to take and which you do not want to take. And during my OB class, I learned various things about that as well. That which leadership style is crucial, which you deploy at what particular moment. And the second thing, I'll give just one more example. So let's suppose few year back, and I'm sitting in a meeting. How I start a meeting would be that basically I would be the person who would ask the question and offer a solution. And then I would ask other people to critique on the solution, or if they have their own viewpoints, put those forward. I realized during the class that a strange effect takes place there, and it is known as sunflower effect. The person who has the higher position, people tend to agree with him. So if you speak first, people will agree with you and will not put forward their own ideas, their own comments. So this is something, if I have a time machine and go back, I would change that. So this is something that I learned as well. And I see this firsthand during my internship as well. This is how Amit Malakar, who was the CEO of the company, used to do things as well. So he was quite adaptive in this particular approach as well. And I could see the results as well. The ideas that could come and the conversation that people had were completely different. And I think it's one major takeaway that I will take, and when I'll manage people going forward.
I'm definitely taking ahead the sunflower effect. Never speaking in a meeting first, never giving
So now coming back to you again. So you have been a renowned poet. You have a book, Khushboo Mere Jeevan Ki. You are the president of the theatre club. So I think from a person looking from outside towards consulting, me and other people think that consulting somewhere strangles creativity. Is that the case? Did it help you, or did it make you a better consultant?
Okay, I think it helped me and it made me a better consultant, both. So I think, first of all, I have always been included in various creative aspects of every activity. I've always been a creative person. I've always wanted to look at things a very different way, from a very different perspective. I've always been a curious person who questions everything. So for example, if you tell me that sun rises in the east, I want to know why it rises in the east. I want to know why behind everything. And I think that curiosity has led me to writing a poem or creating plays and now theatre here. I think that is one thing, and it has helped me in consulting a lot, because for consulting, it is, once you have a task in hand, it's not diffusion of responsibility. You cannot keep that mindset. You cannot keep that, oh, someone will take up, someone will solve it. No, it's your module. You are responsible for it. You have to take your charge. So when you take the charge of your module, you walk in a certain way with your module. You never look at module from outside. So I think as a creative person, what has inspired me is to look from an outer perspective, from a third perspective. Let's say there are two perspectives, I have the third perspective to it. So that is what I bring to the table now. So being a creative plus an analytical person, I think I challenge the frameworks that we study. I challenge the methods that we follow. And in challenging them, I can come up with something new, a new method, a new framework, a new way of doing it. So I think that has helped me very much.
And I can certainly attest that many professors' framework was also challenged by you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really nice talking to you, Khushboo.
Same.
Happy to do it again.
Same.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.